Here. I am going to do an Ask Me Anything session here on my channel. The whole purpose of this is for me to be able to communicate with all of you out there to have a different experience because I appreciate all of you watching my videos. And I know we have a really fun time with me creating the videos, you guys watching them, and then we interact in that space. But what I want to do is find different ways to communicate with you. I'm using a new platform right now. I'm live streaming using something called Riverside, and it's supposed to help streamline operations. I'm also going to be including this as part of my podcast. If you haven't listened to my podcast, it's Jason Lanier Photography Unfiltered. Really fun podcast, and I'm really looking to do different content on there to be able to create some awesome opportunities for us to be able to communicate, talk, and do things of that nature. I have been traveling a lot, and I've been doing a lot of different things over the last couple of I don't know, it's crazy years really. But a lot of those things include, being at Six Flags New Orleans. For those who haven't been aware of what I've been up to, I was working out there for about the last year and a half, and then working as well over at a lot of the demolition projects that I've been doing because I followed the demolition crew from Six Flags to one of their new sites to be able to continue development of a TV series that we're trying to develop. So what I want to do is open this session up. I didn't want to make this about me just sitting here talking to you guys and telling you how great my world is and everything that I'm doing. I really wanted to open it up for an opportunity for us to be able to discuss and for me to be able to provide help if this is helpful for all of you out there, and I sure hope that it is. So if you have any questions, what I would like to ask you to do is to drop them down below. Drop them in the comment section, and I will be able to answer those for you real time. I get a lot of questions. People ask me stuff all the time about, you know, how to do this with a camera, how to do this with smoke bombs, or how to do this with whatever else it might be. And I want to be able to answer those questions for you guys here real time as best as possible. Please bear with me. I am working, again, like I said, with a new platform, and I'm trying to do my best to make sure that I provide the best opportunities for you guys to be able to, enjoy what we do here at the channel. I'm trying to become a lot more active on the channel like I was in the past, and to be able to, really get into some of the fun stuff that we're doing. So if you have any questions, comments, whatever else it might be, um, it's funny to look at myself over here. Please feel free to write a comment down below and let me know what you think. So I just got back from San Francisco, breaking into warehouses, doing some really cool stuff. It is quite an interesting thing to be a photographer in this day and age. Honestly, it really is. With all of the things that are occurring in our space, including artificial intelligence getting replaced by all the different programs that exist out there. The fact that you can just go on now these days and just type in a question or type in a prompt and be able to generate an image is something that we haven't had to even deal with in the world of photography. And it's something that we have to really take a look at. So I'm going to start looking at some of the questions here, answering some of these questions for you guys. And I'm sure hoping that this is a benefit to all of you. So let me get over to the questions, and we'll go from there. And just like that, I'm trying to figure that out. I apologize. I just saw the comments and they've disappeared on me now. So let me take it back over here. This is what you get for trying to actually, do something in a good way. So apparently I am not really fulfilling that obligation. I just saw questions and now they've disappeared. So I'm not doing something right, clearly. You always, I will say this much. If you're going to mess up live. It's the biggest, mess up that you could possibly do. And all of a sudden, the comments, I saw comments by a number of folks, and now they have just flat out disappeared on me. It is fantastic. I'm so grateful that this is just working out so unbelievably well. But I'm supposed to be able to see the comments down here, but this is just the way that it goes. Mm-mm-mm. All right, I'm going to type this to you guys. If you have any questions, write them below. This is your chance. All right. And now they have reappeared. Okay, perfect. All right. Am I ever going to come to Wisconsin? I would love to come to Wisconsin. That dovetails into the next question of when and where are your next workshops from Dean. I am working on providing. I'm coming out with a whole slew of workshops, and I'm going to be announcing that this month as to when and where they're going to be. I'm working on just a variety of different kinds of workshops, and one thing that I'm going to be providing that is a brand new kind of workshop that I haven't done before is I am going to be doing a workshop series on teaching photographers on how to do great workshops. I've read a lot of, I've been doing workshops for the last 15 years. And, when you do them that long, and I've done them successfully, very successfully, and when you do them that long, you learn a lot. You learn what to do and what not to do. And I've read some horror stories from, travels and things that people have had go wrong for them. And so I was talking with my family about it, and I thought, it could be a really cool idea to actually help photographers know how to do good workshops, especially once you get into international workshops, you get into, travel, logistics, things of that nature. It can get really tough. I also thought it would be potentially a great way to help people understand where they're at and if they're really ready to start doing workshops, because you have to have some self-awareness if you're going to succeed, and especially if you're going to take people's money and train them. I mean, people's money and their time is very valuable, and so to that end, that is one thing that I'm striving to do, and I really hope that it helps. But if you have any requests, like somebody says Wisconsin, if you have any requests and things that you'd like for me to do, please let me know. I would certainly love to hear them from you. I just got a Sony a7 IV and a7R5. Do you think the Sigma 85 1.4 would be a great lens for them? I do. A Sigma art lenses are great lenses. They really are. I do prefer the a7 IV over the a7R5. I've just shot with both of them very recently. I shoot with the a7 IV all the time. It's my go-to camera. But my buddy Steve has the R5 up in San Francisco where I'm at, and I've been shooting with his, quite a bit. By the way, I do have new review videos coming out with the Sony 2870 and the Sony 50-150. If you're interested. I've also reached out to B&H Photo, and they're going to be sending me any gear that I want to test out. So if you guys have any requests on gear that you'd like me to test from any brand, let me know. B&H will send it to me, and I'll be able to test that for you guys. So I'm really looking to get things ramped up to the way that they used to be now that I'm, out of the, constraints of the projects that I was working on. And I really hope that it's beneficial to all of you out there. I really do. I want to run a channel and have fun again with you guys. But do I think that lens would be great? Yeah, I really do. It's not going to be as good as a G Master lens, the 85 1.4 G Master. Those are just a little bit better quality from a sharpness perspective. But honestly, the price differential between the art lenses and the G Master is pretty substantial, and the quality isn't as big as the price differential. So, if you don't care about money, or if you're, well off, get a G Master. If you really, want a big bang for your buck, the art lenses are a great way to go. Hi, Jason. Are you still using You Believe in Me? Well, thank that's Courtney. Well, thank you, Courtney. I very much believe in you too, and I think you know why. Hi, Jason. Are you still using the same flashes? I'm using primarily Godox. Usually rolling around with two of the whatchamacallit. I have a Flashpoint Explorer, and then I have the Godox 8600 Pro. And I'm primarily using those. I'm not using a lot of Rotolite now, and you guys, if you have more questions about that, I'm more than happy to answer that. But Rotolite, you know, I can answer that if you guys are interested. I don't need to take down that rabbit hole if you're not interested. But no, I'm not using a lot of Rotolight simply because, well, they went out of business, and now they've restructured, and so I think that's the fastest and easiest way to put it. Um, have you looked at eVoto for editing? That's a great question. That's an AI platform for editing, and actually, this platform that I'm using here, which is Riverside, is another AI platform, and so it is very fascinating for us to be able to use AI. I think that's the only way we can make it as creative is if we incorporate the AI into our workflow. We're not going to be able to make it if we are not working hard with AI. And you guys know I'm big into innovation. I always have been, from switching from DSLR to mirrorless, and you guys all know that story. And now when you go from, when you're looking at the AI and you can get frustrated about it, I have fun with it. I mean, here's the thing that y'all need to think about. AI isn't going anywhere, just like mirrorless wasn't going anywhere, meaning you're not going to be able to fight it. I don't care what you do, you can't fight innovation and change. So if you don't find a way to adapt, you will become extinct. It's that simple. So if you don't want to be one of the guys who went extinct with the film cameras, don't talk to me about the 0.1% of people who, were the best at their craft and they found a niche and they're still in business. I'm talking about 90% of people that go out of business because they don't adapt. If you don't adapt, you're going to go out of business. It's that simple. This is true of any industry. Travel industry, technology industry, service industry. If you don't adapt, you die. So if you want to make it in the world of photography, adapt if you're a photographer. Hi, Jason. I'm thinking of starting a YouTube channel based around photography. Where would you start? Any advice is appreciated, from Bobby Carey. What's up, Crystal? I would say, first and foremost, if you're starting a YouTube channel, that's a wonderful question. Okay. First off, make sure you start it and you do a YouTube channel that is based around things that people love. But more importantly, things that you love. Your job as a YouTuber, if you want to be able to do it long term, is if you are trying to cater to what other people want, you may get a YouTube, you may develop a YouTube channel that is somewhat successful, but you're not going to develop a YouTube channel that you like to do. So I've been doing YouTube now forever, right? And yes, I've taken a hiatus to do other projects, but now I'm coming back to it because I really do love doing it. I do love photography. I love the crazy videos I do. I love the adventures that I do. And we're going to get into all that other kind of stuff. So the point is, if you are going to create a YouTube channel, what do you love to do, Bobby? What do you love that that you could put to film? The other thing I would say is, if you're going to do a YouTube channel, make life a lot easier for yourself. Film things with the iPhone. I own 4 iPhones, and that's how I film all of my content. I don't film using Sony's. It's a waste of time. I film using 360 cameras, drones, and iPhones. That's how I film all of my content. And I'm talking for major documentaries and stuff like that. You'd be amazed the things that you can do with those cameras, the places you can put them, and the content that you can create by using that kind of technology. So I would definitely do that instead of setting up a Sony and getting a big ass gimbal and all that. I'm not doing that. It's a waste of time and money. Again, Crystal, hello. Dave, great to see you. Great to see you too, Dave. Welcome back, brother. Thank you, Mark. Which cameras are you using these days? I'm using primarily the Sony a7 IV. The R5. Okay, I remember being with Emily. We're talking 7 years ago. We're in Gary, Indiana, shooting at some old abandoned hospital. And I was doing a review video for the R4, and I really pissed off Sony because I said that this focus sucked on the A7R4, and it does. Okay, and then that's why I didn't go with the R series. And then when I just messed around with my buddy Steve's camera, he's going to get pissed off when I said this, but I told it to his face as well, is the R5 sucks too. Now, people are going to get angry that I say that, but it's all comparatively speaking. When you compare the R5 focus to the A7 IV focus, the A7 IV focus is better. I have no clear understanding as to why the focus sucks when there's better resolution in the cameras, because when I shot with the Fuji FX100, I didn't have those focus issues, but Fuji doesn't focus as well as Sony, so that's not fair either. Because when it comes to focus, that's what Sony was known for, and it's one of the main reasons I shot with them for so long, is because their focus was so good. And to me, that's the main purpose of a camera. Don't talk to me about color science and all that other stuff. You can easily change that in post. The things that matter to me from an efficiency standpoint to be able to deliver consistently great product, and for that camera's job is to help me get great shots. End of story. That camera's job is to take what's in my brain and put it into a digital format so I can put it online, print it, do whatever I want with it. Any tool that helps me deliver that image in my brain and converts that into a digital form, it converts it into something that can be a tangible good, that's what I want to use. And any tool that helps me do that more efficiently will get my vote. So I'm still not a fan of the R series, not to mention the fact I think it's overkill. I don't think you need it. Most people, Sony didn't like it when I called the A1 camera steak sauce. I think it's a stupid name, number one. And number two, I think that, and I'm still a Sony shooter. I'm not hating on Sony, but I do know a lot about Sony, which is why I mention it. But what I'm getting at is find the right tool that works for you. Find the right, you guys know my videos, find the right tool that works for you. But the point is, that's why I use the A7 IV. I love it. In fact, I just shot a video in Los Angeles that's really cool. And, I'm going to name the video, getting great shots with crappy gear. And I took out my old original Sony A9. I put a few of my old Sony Zeiss lenses on it. And I shot it with the old Flashpoint 600 Explore with the old, do you guys remember this? The Westcott Halo. You remember that? Remember that old ass modifier? I put that through the umbrella thread on the Explore 600 and did some really cool shots. So you're going to see that video dropping real soon. Wedding photography won't be affected by AI as the photos must be from the actual event. Don't. Everything's going to be affected by AI. Everything. And so don't sell AI short. That's where we make mistakes, is where we say, this can't replace that. Now, I personally believe that the way to incorporate and to be able to be successful as a photographer is to your point, take specific people to specific locations and for you to shoot them in a certain way. That's the one way to make things that are unique. So what AI does, if you want to know the truth, is it pushes out the 80% of people who shouldn't be photographers. Sorry, not sorry. It forces people to be more competitive and better. So if you want to make it in the world of AI, be unique. It's kind of that simple. I recently sold my A6000, which I had since you introduced it to us on YouTube years ago, and now I'm regretting it. I do have the A7R5 and a Fuji XM5, but I really miss that A6000 now. A6000 is still a monster for the price, for the size, for all of that. Yeah, A6000 is still a little beast. When am I going to release my classes? I should release my classes are going to be released this month. I'm going to get them out this month. I'm here to learn lighting. Natural light sucks. Well, I'm glad you're here to learn lighting. I just was I posted this on my stories on Instagram. I was in this warehouse with the model 2 days ago. There was this light streaming in, and I got one reflector, and I bounced that light that came in, and it's a very, very tall warehouse. The light came in from a shaft where a ventilator fan would be, and it shot down 100 feet, and I bounced it off the ground using a reflector onto the model, and the shots are wild. So you're going to see that video. It's really cool stuff. Did I get my drone fixed from Miss Crystal Cadaver? No. DJI's got some spy stuff going on with Trump and everything else. I don't know what's going on with DJI. Now, in all fairness, DJI was having stalking issues prior to Trump getting elected. So I don't know what their issues are. You cannot get drones these days. It's ridiculous. I wreck my drones more often than, most people, brush their teeth. And so that's pretty gross. But I do wreck my drones a lot because I do crazy things with them. And I have 3 of the Mini 4 Pros, and they're all. I need to Frankenstein them, but I need some like nerd to really, help me with because I need to hack that crap because my drone will not get out of that stupid. There's some error code mode where it overheats. You guys ever had the stupid drone where it goes into attitude mode and it literally flies off and crashes? Well, that's what happens with my damn drones. Man, these drones piss me off, but I do love them. I was with Courtney at Six Flags during a snowstorm and I flew the drone into the Ferris wheel. That was awesome, but I ended up getting that drone back. All right, next. Sports photography. I have a drone, iPhone, and phone gimbal, and DJI mini mics. Yep. Yep, DJI is great stuff, but they cannot get their drones out. Adrian Day, the master has returned. Well, thank you. Glad to see you're back and looking life is treating you okay. Yep, life's treating me great. Just stopping from the UK. Question, what's your take on the best way to sell images in 2025? Wow. Sell images, be unique. And I know that sounds like a really generic answer, but you have to do things that other people can't do, especially in a day and age where people get their iPhones, they take a picture, you can erase people, remove people, do whatever. And you can edit it, you can put fake skies, and you can do blah, 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 blah. So that's where your lighting, that's where your location, and that's where your composition and your ability to pose somebody really come into play. Also, your ability to storytell and to be able to extrapolate and tell a story when you're in these environments and you're shooting. If you're able to do that, you can be far more successful because, as much as AI is going to keep getting better every single day. Every single day, it's going to keep getting better. That being said, they're still robot images. So when I go in, like Crystal and Courtney, two models that are on this stream that I've mentioned, both of them, I love both of them. They're both amazing models, and I've worked with both of them extensively. Like some of the shots that we've gotten at Six Flags and other places, the stories and everything that we bring together to create those images, that's what makes it unique. It's that we shot it at Six Flags, it's the props that we use, it's the costuming, it's everything else. That is unique. Like if you just plugged in, hey, put a model at the Ferris wheel at Six Flags, New Orleans, people would be like, AI will pump out something, but it's going to be pretty generic. So that's my point. Get unique with your work and then find a niche. Find people that love it. Like I was talking about that YouTube channel. Your job as a creator isn't to try to appeal to everyone. Your job is to put your stuff out there and find people who you appeal to. So let your audience find you. You have to work hard for them to find you. But my point is, do you and attract the people that are attracted to you. All right. What are your go-to lenses? What are your go-to lenses you use the most? Says Artanian Photography. My go-to lenses that I use the most are that 50 to 150 is a monster lens. That thing's beast. That 20 to 70 is a monster lens. They vignette, both lenses vignette. But it is what it is. They're lighter than the Canon versions, but those, those are great lenses. But me personally, it's always going to be the 50. I love a 50 millimeter lens. I love a 35. 50, 35. I could keep going. 14, 20, 24. Up and down the list. But what do I use the most? What gets the most work from my camera? It's a 50 millimeter 35 and the 85. Tracy Blackwell, so good to see you back. The podcast is great as well. Well, thank you, Tracy. That's very kind of you. Much love. I hope you're not offended that I gave you a kiss. Yo, Jason, glad to see you're streaming. How's your work in New Orleans going? Hope you're doing well. Oh, and I'm getting the track piece you sent me cleaned by an expert. Oh my gosh, it's expensive. This is Colin. Colin came to my workshop in New Orleans, and I worked with the powers that be there to get him a piece of the old Megazef track, and so that is at his house, and that's pretty awesome. I'm happy for you. I don't know why you're getting it clean. That's history, baby boy. You're taking my fingerprints off it. Shame on you. But I love you, Colin. I'm just having fun with you. But that's awesome. In regards to the park is currently in a complete stalemate, and they've taken a good amount of the waste out of the park, but the park, there has been no demolition since April when I left. So when I left, demolitions stopped. And 3 months later, there has been no progress on the demolition. And that's where it sits right now. The park is currently about 50% gone. That's where it sits. What's your favorite niche in photography? That's tough. I'm very hard to focus. That's one of my key problems. But I do love I love shooting models. I love the freedom of going into these abandoned places and doing that kind of stuff. But I also love documentaries, and that's why I did the Six Flags project as well as the Border project. The Border project that I did would piss off anybody, no matter what your political affiliations are. So I kind of think that I did something right in doing that. Because my goal in doing any sort of a photojournalistic endeavor is to be able to provide the truth just from an observational standpoint. And I hope that people see it the same way as well. Greetings from Germany. Everybody reached for 42 to 62 megapixels, but as an amateur photographer, is it okay 24 megapixels APS-C Alpha 6 A6000? Yeah, man. Well, I would consider myself a top pro. I think a lot of people would. I'm not shooting for 42 to 62 megapixels. I think it's overkill, especially in today's day and age where there's very, very little that's actually going to print. I think it's complete overkill. And that's one of the reasons I just did that shoot where I said I did it using quote unquote crappy gear, shooting with the 24 megapixel Sony A9, the original. You can absolutely shoot with an A9 or a 24 megapixel camera and get great results, 100%. I've been shooting now with film again for 2 years, and I've noticed the market's just exploding. What are your feelings and what are your thoughts on shooting any film? Shooting film is going to explode. It's just like how, it's funny when I run around with models, which is all the time. When I run around with models, 9 times out of 10, the one camera, they won't have any cameras outside of their iPhone, but the one camera that they will have will be like the Fuji Kodak, whatever, the little Kodak version of Fuji, right? They love to do that. And the kids these days love the little, Insta camera, whatever stuff. Everybody loves something nostalgic. And that's really what it boils down to. In fact, another trend going around is people love like the really crappy 2 to 4 megapixel original digital versions of, digital cameras. They love that. Why do they love it? Because their life missed that chunk of evolutionary process in photography. So they love to go back to anything that didn't include them. So they can experience it for themselves. They'll go and shoot it for a little while. They'll see how cool it is until it sucks. I don't know how else to say it. Now, film is not necessarily in that same vein because film, the resolution is there. So I'm not saying film sucks. What I am saying is there's always going to be a niche for film. It's always going to be a small niche, but there will always be a niche for film. It's just not going to ever be huge. That would be my take. It's been 8 years since I saw you last, but I'm glad to see you back on YouTube. YouTube was not as reliable back then, and your channel is looking good. Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much. My hat, by the way, this thing has got to go. It has got to get replaced. But my hat, I'm just saying this because I'm looking at it. I'm looking at my hat for the people listening on the podcast. It looks like it's been run over by a train, and it belongs in a museum for asbestos. That comes with good reason. It's because of the fact that I've been shooting with it and using it at Six Flags, but I don't get rid of my hats. My hats have certain sections of my life where I created work. This is my Six Flags hat. My son told me he's getting me a new hat for Father's Day. Still waiting on that. I think it's a month. He's a month late, but we'll see what happens. But I need a new hat. But no, I appreciate that. Thank you as always. Great advice. I've been with you since your days before the Sony days. Very grateful for your input. You are so welcome, Adrian. Thank you for being here, my man. Susan Tonitsu, missed you over here in Aussie land. Oh, I love Aussie land. I got to get back. I was just there, year and a half ago? I got to get back. That was a fun adventure. Colin says he's keeping the patina on the Six Flags track intact. That's great. Keep it intact, baby boy. And don't get too excited about it. And Colin knows what I mean by that. Scale of 1 to 10, how much do you miss me? Antisocial pictures. For those who don't know, he's Whispers the Clown up in New York. I miss him tons. He's creepy as hell. He's also a really cool guy. And the next time I'm in New York, we gotta get together, my man. But it's definitely a 10. I miss you big time. All Cars United. I wonder if drones are hard to get as they are used during the war. I highly doubt it's a war-related issue. I think it's customs. I think it's tariffs, and because the fact that I've been buying, and let's be honest, every drone sucks except DJI. I mean, I hate to say it, but I don't even know if there's anything close to a DJI, and that's bad. That's bad. It's bad for us as consumers because if there's no alternative, you can say Sony sucks, Canon sucks, Nikon sucks. At least we have choices. So if Sony goes out of business or if Sony has problems with the government, we have options. We can do Nikon or Canon. We don't have that option right now because DJI is the only person out there, the only entity out there. So I wish an American company would make some drones. I wish some European companies would make some drones. I wish somebody would make some damn drones so we could get our work done. I really rely on drones to get my stuff done, so I'm pissed off that they suck so much in regards to getting drones out there. I really wish they would do a better job at that. Colin says, I can't make the piece shiny and too clean. That'd be erasing the history, like you said. Exactly. Bobby Carey says, how do you go about locating abandoned places that you're allowed to shoot inside? That's cute. I think it would be badass to photograph an athlete in an abandoned place. Okay, number one, anytime that I'm in an abandoned place, virtually any time, I'm breaking in. I don't pretend that I'm not. I don't pretend that I'm getting access. I'm not. The only time I've ever had access is when I was doing the project at Six Flags New Orleans. I had that access because I had broken in and been arrested for doing that. And that made me kind of famous in the world of Six Flags New Orleans. And so because of doing that, when the group that's associated with Tyler Perry and all that, when they wanted to build a movie studio out there, they asked me to come out and shoot that for them and shoot their executive team. That's what got me involved in that project. Outside of that, like the stuff that I was just doing in San Francisco, I'm breaking in. Now, I have certain rules. I call them Dexter rules, meaning, you know how Dexter, for those who watch the murder show, he has rules for killing people. He will only kill someone if it's a bad guy. He has to make sure it's a bad guy. I kind of have Dexter rules for breaking into places, meaning I don't break stuff in. I don't break down doors. I don't pick locks. I don't break windows. I got to have access into the place. So it's got to be something that I can access in without me having breaking. So I will enter a place, but I'm not going to do breaking and entering. I'm going to skip the breaking part and just do the entering. So those are kind of my rules. But like the warehouses that I was just breaking into in Berkeley, I had to cross railroad tracks. I had to go through holes in the fence, and then I would go in. And then when you go in there, just keep in mind, there's all sorts of ne'er-do-wells in there. There's usually people sleeping in there. There's usually people stealing stuff. There's the place that I was in, they were holding raves, and you will find some weird stuff. I don't recommend doing it if you don't have a lot of experience, and I would recommend going with people, especially if you're females. That's not a sexist comment. That's just me being realistic, just because people are crazy. And just because you're a dude doesn't mean you're going to be safe either. Just take care of yourself, be safe, and be mindful. And don't be stupid. When you go into these abandoned places, guys, for the love of goodness, stop running around and making a bunch of noise. Like, acclimate. I always tell people when they first get into an abandoned space, acclimate. That's the first thing I'll do. I'll walk into an abandoned space and I'll just stand there and listen. And a lot of times people are like, what are you doing? I said, I'm listening. I'm actually learning. I'm training my brain. What's a natural sound? I want to know if when the wind picks up and and there's aluminum siding, if there's something that has a pattern to it. I'm listening for patterns. Anything that's repetitive. I'm listening for anything like that, so I can know when it's just nature or natural occurrences that are causing that sound versus somebody's in the building. And when somebody is in the building, by the way, I go and approach them. I do not run from them. I've been with people and they want to run away from when they see people. That's the worst thing you can do. You do not want to run away from people unless they're, they have a chainsaw. But outside of that, to me, it's much better to make yourself known and to let people know that you're not afraid of them and that you know who they are. And if you ever get into a really bad spot and you're in an abandoned place or any sort of an endangered environment, which I've been in many, many times, including when I ran from the cartel and everything else, if you're really in a bad spot, live stream. And I know that sounds funny, but pick up your phone and live stream. Don't just record it. Just recording it, they can just get your phone and dump it in the ocean. But if you live stream it, you've now put their face on the internet and they can get caught. And if you tell them, I'm live streaming you, you better stop. You better back up. You know, they can decide what to do from there, but at least that you've done the most that you can outside of Jackie Channing it, and going Bakersfield Chimp on somebody. Anyway, that was a big, big rabbit hole. I'm sorry. Much as I love my R6 Mark II, my 15 megapixels Rebel T5i, pictures look dreamy, make me want to go back to DSLRs. I don't know. I mean, that's just a personal preference, and if you love DSLRs, go back to them. Now, nobody's married to anything. You can do whatever you want. This is the best photographer on earth other than me. Whoever said that is right, except I'm better than that person. So that's awesome, man. I wish Sony would get all of their hardware done back in Japan and get rid of the China locations. I cannot afford newer cameras at 73. I just hope we get all these trade issues and everything fixed, because I just want to get some drones back. Where Sony gets their stuff done, as long as there's availability and it's at good competitive pricing, that's what I'm mostly concerned with. Nola DJ says he's another buddy of mine over there in New Orleans. We don't break in, we walk in. This is right. It's a gentle stroll. It's a gentle stroll that you take into these abandoned locations, and you don't act like an idiot. Crystal, better to ask forgiveness and permission? 100%. That's right, sister. Dean Fedorov, 2 abandoned places, Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, I've been there, and the West Virginia abandoned SCI Crescent Prison. I have not been to the abandoned prison, the Crescent Prison. That sounds like a cool place, but I've definitely been to Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, and I picked up some paranormal stuff there. Do you guys remember all that crazy stuff I used to do? I did like paranormal stuff. We were capturing EVPs. I mean, I really did some crazy stuff. And that's what I want to start doing again. I want to get back to all that craziness and fun, because I've missed it. I'm so, so grateful that I did Six Flags New Orleans and I did the Border Project. Those were transformational projects for me, my life, my career. I'm so grateful that I did them. But I'm also just as excited to get back to some of this crazy stuff. That's what I want to do. Ever get troubleshooting at an abandoned place and then you're trying to sell the photo for commercial use without permission of the property? Depends on who you're trying to sell it to. Honestly, no is the best answer. If you try to sell an abandoned, I mean, technically the owner of the property, if they wanted to get really litigious, they could come back, but they would have to prove when you took it. They'd have to prove that they had ownership. They'd have to prove that you didn't have permission to take that picture. There's a lot of things that they would have to prove, because the inherent copyright to any image is owned by the photographer. And so, no, I've never had any issues like that. John says it shows the difference. It shows you the difference between pre-COVID and now. You never had much trouble when you were doing the photo shoot in the missile silo here in Colorado. The missile silo, I think that's when I was with Maddie and I fell and broke my knee open, gashed my knee open. That was pretty disgusting. And for some insane reason, I went and I still did the photo shoot. That was pretty awesome stuff. But yeah, but it also depends. It also depends. Like, you used to be able to go into a lot of places in Detroit and do some really cool stuff, but now Detroit's been locked up. Pretty much what it boils down to is you have to get into a place before photographers like me go in and put it all over the place and then ruin it. I mean, I've been arrested many, many times at these places. I've been arrested. I mean, I could tell you some stories, but I've been surrounded by cops. I've had guns at my face, put in jail. I've had some stuff. For real, it's been crazy. But it's all been for stupid stuff like that. Nothing else. But yeah, I could tell you y'all some stories if I ever write a book someday. It's pretty wild. Hey Jason, your half marathon video hit me harder than any photo tip. Are you still racing? I run 5 halves since then. Keep sharing the real you. Your stories inspires more than you know. I really appreciate that. People. For those who don't know, I've lost 100 pounds, and that was quite a journey for me, and it's still a struggle for me. I still struggle every day with it. And for those who don't know, I had my hip replaced, and and you know, and I have 2 bad ankles, and I'm still doing crazy stuff like throwing fireworks and shooting demolition and doing really insane stuff because I love it. So it really is a mind over matter thing for me. Am I still moving around and doing all that? Absolutely. But what I would tell anybody else more than anything in regards to, maybe if you guys are interested, I can do a video on how I lost all the weight and everything else that I do, because it's not just a matter of movement. It's a matter of you have to change the way that you eat and what you do. And, there's been models that I've worked with over the years, other photographers. I certainly don't say, hey, you're fat, you should really lose some weight. Let me give you some tips because I used to be a fat ass. That's not what I do. What I do say is, hey, like if they bring it up and they say, hey, you've lost a lot of weight. How did you do it? I do, want to pass on anything. And it's not that anything that I have to share is earth shattering, like it's like this new science. It's not Ozempic. It's just a matter of this is how I got there. But more importantly, it's not how you lose the weight. It's how you keep it off. That's really the hard part. And that comes down to lifestyle changes. And it's not rocket science. And I'm not going to go on and on with it. But if people want to know more about it, I definitely could help you out with that. But thank you, Ballroom Photographer. I really appreciate that. One more thing I will say on the weight loss though is that wasn't just a matter of the way that I looked, and it was losing the weight has such a dramatic impact on how you feel about yourself. When you're overweight, you pretend that it doesn't, and you talk about body confidence, and you talk about I should be okay with who I am. I'm just going to keep it real. I'm just going to keep it real, and people get angry at me for this, but nobody likes being fat. Nobody likes being really overweight. And I know that sounds harsh, but even the people who say they embrace it, you'll notice the celebrities, what's that one chick? I don't know. Guy that I can't remember. I'm spacing out. I can see her face, but I can't remember her name right now. I really can't. But even when you see them, they'll always when they talk. Well, they'll make these music videos about body positivity and how it's okay to be what they are. But then you'll see them a year or two later, and they've lost all this weight. And I'm like, okay, so yeah, that really wasn't real. In other words, we all feel better, and forget about the way that you look, and forget about your confidence for a minute if you want to put that to the side. It's also how it just enables you to live a better life, not only from the internal perspective of breathing and the way that you feel and all that, but just walking. Just for me, the thing that was the most important was if I had to make the decision that if I was going to live a life as a photographer up into my 60s, 70s, because I'm going to shoot until I die, y'all. If I was going to do that, I had to change the way that I was from a body perspective. My body couldn't handle the weight, especially when you're already packing on 30, 40 pounds of gear when you're walking places. My body just could not do it. And so that's why I changed. And that takes a big commitment to do that. And anybody who has seen me personally over the last couple of years knows when you watch me walk, especially now that I had the hip replacement, there is a significant limp that I have. My limp is now worse after my hip replacement because they made my leg that has the hip replacement 1.5 inches longer. So I walk like freaking pirate. But when I watch the videos of me walking, I'm like, is it really that bad? But at least I'm not in pain, so I feel good. So what I'm getting at is take care of yourselves, y'all. And if it helps and I can produce some videos that inspire other people out there to take on that journey, then I'm happy to do that if that is helpful. I'm thinking of upgrading my A6700 to an A7R5 if it's not a good price. No, don't get the A7R5. Don't. Get the 7.4. Do not get. If you want my advice, that's my advice. Don't get the A7R5. Not only is the 120 megapixels, and yes, you can shoot small raw, I get it, blah 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 blah. You don't need it. You don't need it. So for me, you can take that, A7 IV is the sweet spot, that 36 megapixels. It's so much faster to edit. It takes up so much less space. That would be my recommendation. You definitely should write a book. I probably will at some point. Jason, we have a closed down prison in Rome, New York, if you want to try and sneak in and get shots. Ooh, that sounds like fun. I'll have to get some information. I would definitely love to do that. You have inspired so many with your weight loss. Thank you, Susan. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. Jay, you speak the truth, man. Nobody likes to be fat. I can certainly confirm that. I, it is. It's the truth. People talk about, hey, I'm this, I'm that, but nobody likes to be fat. Yes, you had some really bad luck at the missile silo, but what you had was tenacity, guts, and the willingness to simply move forward, and you got the photographs you needed. It was your soul. Yep, man. Mind over matter. When people say to me all the time, because I run around with a bunch of 20-some odd old people, right? You just have more energy than I do. I've never met anybody who will work longer than I do. I've never met a single person. Not one. It's not a bragging thing. It's just fact. And it has nothing to do with my adrenal glands. It has nothing to do with, my body hurts. I mean, a normal daily thing for me is eat some food and chug 4 Advils, because that's how I'm going to make it. It's desire. You got to want it more than other people. And that's just what it boils down to. There's just no other way to put it. Your will overcome your body if you try hard enough. And if you lose the weight, that makes it easier to do that. Jason, happy to see you live and can't wait to see more videos. Well, thank you, Trini Max Adventure. I appreciate that. Crystal says, I would have never known you were overweight by the way you were climbing, the way we were climbing around the Mega Zephyr. Yeah, you wouldn't know it, right? And I appreciate that, Crystal. But I used to be, quick story, my come to Jesus moment on my weight was, I was in Homer, Alaska, and I was going to go shoot the bears with my camera, not a gun. I don't want to go kill bears just for fun. That's not my thing. And I walk in. I'm going to be a little bit time with this story because it's kind of funny to me. But this was my come to Jesus moment, and I had to wake up. I walked in, and I'm a big tub of lard, and I walk into this little, I think it's called the Salty Dog Saloon. I'm not making this up. If you've ever been to Homer, Alaska, it's a tiny little spit of land, and it's just a beautiful area. But you walk in the morning, and you have to do a weigh-in. And I walk in, and of course, since I'm fat, I'm already self-conscious that I'm walking in, and I see a scale on the ground. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why is there a scale? Right? So I'm thinking, okay, Jason, how many donuts have you had recently? What have you been eating recently? What's going on with you? Are you going to make? And then it says on the wall, max passenger capacity, including gear, is 300 pounds. I'm good. There's no way. I am good. I'm going to have no problems. And so I look at that scale, and it's literally like you hear in the movies. There's this music playing as I'm watching one person in my party after another walk up to that scale, and everybody's like 220, 240, 260, 190, 150, whatever it may be. And then when it's my turn, I'm thinking, can I go to the bathroom real quick so I can urinate out any of the excess fat that I may have in my body? And so I step on the scale, and I watch the numbers go, and I'm like, holy crap, you better stop. And it gets to, I am not exaggerating, it gets to 298. 298. And the lady looks at me, she goes, whew, you barely made it. And I stepped off the scale, and I thought, holy crap, Jason, you're so fat that you're not going to be able to you can't even go on a helicopter. Because that's the reason they had to weigh you. They had to make sure that, they have to make sure that the weight is distributed proportionately inside of the aircraft. And if you're a certain weight, you're just going to make the helicopter crash. So I was like, you know what? That was my moment of stop making excuses. Oh, I have a slow metabolism. Oh, I have a disabled body. Oh, I'm legally disabled. Who cares? Crocodile tears aren't going to help. You want to make a change? Make it. That's it. And I made a change, and I've lost a lot of weight, and it's really improved my life. And